Donald Trump's lies about the 2020 election are what got him in the legal trouble in Georgia, but it's not stopping him from repeating it all over again. A grand jury in Fulton County has now voted to indict him and 18 others on state criminal charges across 41 counts, all of it stemming from their alleged efforts to overturn Trump's loss there. CNN's Daniel Dale is with us now. And Daniel, Trump has fired off a barrage of false claims about what happened in Georgia since election night in 2020. But give us the truth. Give us the fact check.
It's been 2.5 years of lies, continuing into this morning when he repeated his vague false claim that the election was rigged. We know that's false. There have also been a bunch of thoroughly debunked specific conspiracy theories. I listed 10 in an article, 10 lies about Georgia in an article on CNN.com. 2 of them stand out to me. One of them is this claim about thousands of dead voters in Georgia. At one point, he said it was 5,000, then he made it 10,000. And so when reporters said, okay, give us some names, the Trump campaign provided names. This was in 2020. We looked into them. These were living people. For example, they claimed that a dead person named Deborah Jean Christensen had somehow cast a ballot. Well, we knocked on the door of the living Deborah Jean Christensen, just a woman who happened to have the same name. So it's an example of just how half-baked many of these lies are. Another one that stands out is this claim that Trump keeps repeating, thoroughly discredited, thoroughly debunked, about 2 Fulton County election workers supposedly having been caught on camera stuffing the ballot box, taking ballots out of suitcases. They were completely exonerated by a state investigation. It stands out to me because 2 senior officials in Trump's own Justice Department, people he appointed himself, have testified. They told him directly in 2020 that there was nothing to this. They were not even suitcases. These people did not scan the ballots over and over. It was all wrong. And yet 2.5 years later, the former president keeps saying it.
And yet, here we are, still hearing it. I also want to ask you about these repeated attacks on Fani Willis, who's the Fulton County DA in this case. In a speech last week, he even claimed that she was having an affair with a gang member. What did you find out about that?
This stuff is honestly so bananas. I'm hesitant to discuss it on television.
Right,
but let me take people through it because it's the baseless, no evidence, it's a complete distortion. So there is a rapper named YSL Mondo who was part of a hip hop collective that Fani Willis is also prosecuting members of, alleging that their hip hop group is also a criminal street gang. Now, YSL Mondo did an interview with Rolling Stone magazine in January saying, hey, fun fact, when Fani Willis was a defense lawyer in 2019, she actually represented me and we had a cool relationship. She was a great lawyer. He said we had like auntie to nephew, mother to son type talks. And I'm surprised that she's now, basically prosecuting my buddies. Well, the Trump campaign made an attack ad out of that, saying that Fani Willis concealed a relationship with a member of a gang she was prosecuting. Even though she didn't, she told Rolling Stone, yeah, I used to represent the guy when I was a defense lawyer. Somehow Trump took that further and took hiding a relationship to make it, she was having an affair, some sort of illicit romantic sexual relationship with a gang member she was prosecuting. That is completely out of thin air, no basis for it whatsoever, but he said it in a speech and then said it again on social media.
And you've said it, I'll say it, completely untrue, but thank you so much for going through all of that step by step. The truth, obviously so important here. Daniel Dale, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Jim?
CNN's Zachary Cohen, he's been covering this from outside the courthouse in Fulton County. Zach, make sense of the latest charges coming out of that courthouse there behind you.
Yeah, Jim, a busy legal calendar stacking up here for the former president. We know that the DA, Fani Willis in Georgia, in Fulton County here, has given the former president 10 days to voluntarily surrender. She also issued what is effectively an arrest warrant if he does not choose to do so. We do expect Trump to, in person, surrender to authorities here in Georgia. The logistics and the details of that are still being worked out, but you got to keep in mind as well that there are 18 other co-defendants that were named in this indictment who will also have to turn themselves in to authorities here in Fulton County. So, we're going to really see how that plays out in terms of, because Fani Willis herself has said that she expects and wants to try all 19 individuals, including Trump, together. And that really does sort of underscore what the message of this indictment was, the sprawling alleged conspiracy case that Fani Willis laid out in these charging documents, with everything from organizing fake electors to pressuring state officials to breaching voting machines in Coffee County. It does paint this narrative of a really broad conspiracy case that she now is going to try to charge in the near term.
She did not comment when asked on whether she had spoken to the special counsel to coordinate, given there are going to be presumably some competing court appearances, trial dates going forward. Would that be expected in these circumstances?
Well, Joe, I think we're kind of in uncharted waters overall here right now with a former president who's now been indicted 4 separate times and is facing, potential court challenges going forward, a court calendar going forward with 4 separate cases. But, a federal case and a state case like this that do seem to overlap at times. They are going to have to work out the logistics. It was interesting that Fani Willis previously was asked about any contact she had with Jack Smith's team. She said she didn't even know who Jack Smith was. So we'll see how that plays out going forward and if that does change.